Hey, everybody, welcome to the Sky Lounge podcast, episode number 251. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Follow me at the Sky Lounge on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Podcasts, and also check out the Sky Lounge on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Without any further ado, let's get shit started with episode number 251. Green Day, Sportsball Day, in the day, messenger baggage, and the one little baggage I got here right next to me is my little puppy. And there's a reason why, we don't have the headphones. We're recording downstairs because I'm watching some hockey with my fucking dogs here. And I wanted to split the sports ball talk into two. So tomorrow we're going to update all the playoff shit. And so today we'll go over some news details that's been popping off in all the realms of sports. And we start off with world football, soccer. And kids, the international break is this week, and Nations League is happening all week long. That whole fucking European competition thing, but not really European competition thing. But it's better than no football, right? I mean, I know the MLS is going on right now, but nobody watches that shit, to be honest. Because, again, why the fuck would you watch a woke league that is more interested in smelling its own fucking farts than actually playing the sport? That's some real shit, kids. That's some real shit. But the real shit in football, and I mean like literal shit, is Arsenal, aka Ars Anal, because we know how much they fucking punch their fans in the dick. But throughout this week, a lot of decent, optimistic news for Arsenal Football Club, which is weird. But Henrik Mkhitaryan finally leaves Arsenal, permanently joins AS Roma. Kind of expected this after last season and just the general feel of his, exit. Always expected him to go, but it felt like forever. He's been away. He's finally gone, but that's just me. I know Henrik Mkhitaryan, had some decent moments with Arsenal, but overall, I mean, he was one of those cats that just didn't really stick to the plan moving forward. So, best of luck to him in AS Roma, but yeah, not a big issue for Arsenal Football Club. Henrik Mkhitaryan, right? I mean, the big issue for them is retaining players like Dani Ceballos, who is set to rejoin from Real Madrid to Arsenal on loan again. But doesn't that defeat the whole fucking purpose? Because, I mean, if he continues to, keep at his quality and play, from the latter portion of, last season, you're definitely not going to be able to afford him. I mean, that's the whole fucking thing. Because Arsenal's always on some sort of fucking budget. And if you want Dani Ceballos, I mean, in terms of purchasing him next season, if within the positive trajectory and how well Arsenal does, he does get better, it's going to be more difficult to buy. And that means you have to move off of certain players that you don't want to move off of. I mean, you're hearing already Hector Bellerin talks because I don't fucking know what other moves Arsenal going to have to make. But they did just sign Cedric Soares. They're kind of debating with the whole Ainsley Maitland-Niles thing. So I honestly don't know. For me, as an Arsenal fan, I'm always ready to say goodbye to any fucking player, anytime, because that's just how this club rolls. And once you're used to heartbreak with Arsenal, you can get used to anything. You really can. But when Arsenal does something nice, it's a bit of a surprise. So Arsenal signing Brazilian defender Gabriel Magalhaes, and I'm pretty sure I'm butchering that fucking name, but Gabriel from Lille, who is a 22-year-old central defender coming from Lille, had by all accounts, a very decent season. But I'm looking at that situation and thinking, okay, you're bringing, two pretty notable defenders from the French league, and you already have a litany of fucking defenders in your squad. So who else are you going to move on? I know Socrates is one of those talks right now, but you can imagine maybe 2 or 3 other cats, being outed. And the reason why I'm moving around so much is because my puppy is actually leaning on me right now. I'm actually going to get the phone and move this to show you guys what's happening right now with the dog. He's actually laying down like this, like a fucking baby. So, because of that whole shit, I'm, moving around back and forth on the goddamn sofa. So, while I move around back and forth, Arsenal also certainly moves around back and forth with their business. I really don't know who else they're going to sell, who else they're going to look to put on the market. Again, it's because Arsenal's budget is always a bit skimpy, a bit of an issue. So I always expect the worst. But come on, you Gunners, maybe some nice shit happens before the start of the regular, Premier League season within about a week. So I don't know, man. I don't really have a lot of expectations. Baby, I need you to get up. I know. He's going to get back. But you know what's also going to get back is the NFL, kids. Yes. The NFL is set to kick off in about 9 days. That Thursday night football game on September 10th, the Houston Texans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Again, that game is slated to have about 15,000 fans in attendance. Obviously, I've already said this and made a point that, the best team in football setting that precedence might be the high point of what, teams will be allowed to do or what they're going to follow. Whereas a, bottom dweller like the Washington Redskins having no fans all season long, that's going to be like the worst of the worst. And I think Jacksonville might follow along just because their fan base is being fed shit. And you know what? Let's talk about this real quick before we move on to some NFL, tidbits here and there, because the hilarious tragedy of the Jacksonville Jaguars have to be noted, kids. All right? Because this is a team that just not even 3 years ago was in the AFC Championship, was slated to be a dynastic team that could potentially reign on for years, but it goes from Jalen Ramsey getting traded to the Rams. Then you trade Calais Campbell for fucking, potato chips and toenail clippings. And now Yannick Ngakoue traded to the Minnesota Vikings for a second and conditional 5th round pick. Which, dude, I don't really know what else to say with that trade other than how did nobody else find value in Yannick Ngakoue, or at least, I don't know, fucking negotiate better on a deal for Yannick Ngakoue, because that dude is one of the, top end, defensive ends in the league. You just made Minnesota's defense better than it already is. It's by all means, the Minnesota defense is already a fantastic unit and squad, but adding Yannick Ngakoue is only going to make it better. But for the Jacksonville Jaguars, nothing does get better. They went ahead and released Leonard Fournette this week, while, again, not being able to trade him for anything. Who the fuck is negotiating shit down there? It's a fucking mess. You couldn't get at least a 4th, maybe a 5th round pick for Leonard Fournette? Nothing? Nothing? That's crazy. The former 4th round pick, 4th overall pick, I apologize. The former 4th overall pick released for absolutely fucking nothing. And your franchise is left to rely on Gardner Minshew, who I think is not a bad quarterback, but he's not the quarterback of the franchise. Which, you can argue. Sure, this is a great fucking quarterback. Gardner Minshew's going to guide us, to fucking 3 wins? Maybe 4? I doubt. I really doubt the Jacksonville Jaguars get 5 wins this season. I doubt it. I have them pegged for maybe 1 or 2 wins at most. They look like dog shit. And this starts from top down. This starts from ownership to the administration to GM to head coach. Every aspect of this organization is toxic. And honestly, just send this shit to England. Nobody fucking wants this goddamn team. This fucking cesspool of a fucking team. But Jacksonville had their chance in that one AFC championship game. But the Patriots just kind of bitch slapped you out of reality. Or out of fantasy. And back to reality of mediocrity. So there you go, Jacksonville. Reality sucks, doesn't it? But that's what you get with arrogance and stupidity. But what's also happening with arrogance and stupidity at times within the NFL is players, want to get paid. And I understand the health aspect, long-term health and, financial stability that can be very iffy, with injuries and how the season goes. And you tend to hold out. But the way holdouts happen, and sometimes the details of these holdouts where you don't come to training camp, you just become more of a, headline and locker room nuisance than anything else. It's curious because when you had the news that Alvin Kamara of the New Orleans Saints was sitting out of camp with, a 3-day absence, possibly spilling into 4 days by this recording, he's not in camp because of contract reasons. And reports are suggesting that the Saints can actually look to trade Alvin Kamara. And that whole thing gets me into this idea of, dude, what the fuck? Kamara, what are you getting so excited about? Like, you're one of the top fucking running backs, but you're not the best running back in the league. You're not. You're not. Who is the best? I mean, Christian McCaffrey, number 1 for me. Probably behind him, you got cats like Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott. I could throw Joe Mixon in there, to be fair, when he's healthy. I mean, he's on it. He's brilliant. But Kamara just getting this arrogance in here. I don't like it. I'm not crazy about it. Maybe that's just how I'm reading the situation. But the Saints team already going into the season feels like their time is done. I mean, with the insertion of the old men brigade, in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who, by the way, even though they're old, they're quality, that could already cause a problem and, a whole fucking monkey wrench in the plans of dominating the division again. Well, relatively speaking, because the fucking Saints have never really swept that that division dominantly before. So in my eyes, the Saints window has been closing every season, and I think this season is one of the smallest this window has been for this team. And I don't know if this Alvin Kamara story is going to help them at all. I think, in a sense, it's going to, hamper their season. Maybe it pushes their fucking win total to single digits only. Who the hell knows? I mean, Drew Brees is a fucking all-time talent. I'm not arguing that shit. I'm not arguing that Kamara is a shit running back. He's a great running back. I'm calling him one of the best fucking running backs, one of the top running backs in the league. He's not the best, but he's one of the top running backs in the league. But despite all the talent, this team is just failing miserably every single time. It kind of feels like the Pittsburgh Steelers with AB, Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger. Feels the same. Feels generally the same. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm putting, too much criticism on this team. But prove me wrong, Saints. Prove me fucking wrong. Now, the one team that is looking to prove the league wrong is the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals actually did a fine piece of business in signing Joe Mixon to a 4-year contract extension, $48 million for the 24-year-old running back for 4 years. Not bad at all. Obviously, running backs have a very, short life cycle, in terms of physicality, in terms of durability and all of that. But Joe Mixon, I mean, if you can somehow bolster that O-line and keep it, steady, maybe you keep Joe Mixon alive. Hopefully you keep Joe Burrows alive. But Cincinnati is going to be a very curious team to watch coming from training camp into the regular season. And the team that has been having a pretty fantastic offseason in terms of spending money is the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs went ahead and spent a little bit more money when they went ahead and extended the dynamic duo in head coach Andy Reid and GM Brett Veach, and signing a 6-year contract with those cats. And hey, they just won you a fucking Super Bowl. I mean, they built this team up, and so why not extend them? Why not let the good times roll? The whole thing, of course, is going to be stagnancy, complacency down the line, maybe 2-3 seasons when the same thing doesn't work and ownership gets a little bit impatient. Maybe down the line that shit happens. But with Andy Reid, I mean, every September he's a fantastic winning coach, and usually shit doesn't go awry until December, usually for Andy Reid. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be around for a long, long time. Kind of like Pete Carroll with the Seattle Seahawks. After you win one, you're never going to leave, despite how incredibly frustrating certain parts of that head coach's game is. But we live, kids. That we do. Although, to be fair, there's one team that's a walking zombie. I mean, they're not alive, but they're not really dead either. But the NFL taking charge in the Dan Snyder investigation just reeks of, I don't know, more potential bullshit, more just unnecessary digging in. And for me, I've always said this. I don't like Dan Snyder. I think Dan Snyder is a fucking prick, but I am certainly of the belief that you should not be changing fucking team names because of the woke mob. And that's one point I'm going to fucking, fight alongside Dan Snyder, but I'm not going to fucking, dig the cat. So for me, I see this going only one way. The NFL is going to try to oust Dan Snyder some way, somehow, because the wokeness is real in the NFL. I mean, it's fucking real. It's real in every goddamn sports league right now, unfortunately. But the NFL is just teasing and previewing how woke they're going to fucking be. And it starts with this helmet decal bullshit, where NFL players are allowed to put the names of police shooting victims on their helmets. And I put quotation marks around victims because a guy like Drew Brees already has a name of Jacob Blake on his helmet. Jacob Blake is a fucking criminal, by the way. And again, unfortunate, choice of words, but he is a fucking criminal. Sexual assault, rape. You're going to defend this piece of shit who was called by the police because he was not supposed to be at a place where he sexually assaulted a woman? You're going to defend that shit, NFL? And again, the WNBA, making tributes for Jacob Blake is the very definition of irony. It's the very definition of illiteracy and stupidity, which no one's going to backtrack. No one's going to apologize for because they're retards. And nowadays, here's the thing. If you're black, you can never sin. Isn't that fucked up? That's the fucking narrative people are trying to push nowadays. And it's fucking pathetic, man. It's absolutely fucking pathetic. You're going to see just this unbelievable wokeness from the NFL and watch the viewership plummet, and the NFL then quickly just backtracks. But the damage will be too late because they're going to keep doing this shit until probably Thanksgiving, just around the time, the fucking election's going to be over. And then after that, they're not going to do shit. Because right now, every one of these fucking leagues are goddamn billboards for the Democrat Party. They got their fucking money and pocketbooks all aligned. But once they fucking lose, because the Democrats are going to lose to fucking President Trump, man, y'all motherfuckers aren't going to say shit. You're not going to do shit after that. So get the fuck out of my fucking face. NBA, NFL, NHL, with all your woke shit, just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up and play. Can you just shut your fucking mouths and play? Bitch ass. So fucking ridiculous, man. You know what else is ridiculous? The San Diego Padres actually being good. That's a fucking dick thing to say. Dude, I've never really seen the San Diego Padres ever doing well in my lifetime. So anytime they're good, it's just surprising to me. And of course, I mean, the Mike Clevenger trade was pretty huge for the San Diego Padres. But the real question for the Padres is always going to be, can you beat your big brothers in the Dodgers? And I know the Dodgers are kind of a perennial failure in every aspect of the word. But relatively speaking, in that division, you're fucking ants. So, suck my ass, bitch. Why are you so disrespectful? Dude, I don't really like, California teams that aren't the Dodgers or Lakers. That's just being real with you, okay? I grew up in LA for 6 fucking years, 98 to 04, and obviously, I would never live in LA again. But, growing up in LA during that time, I mean, you get embedded into, LA sports culture, which is the two primary institutions in Los Angeles for sports is the Los Angeles Lakers and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Other fucking teams you cheer for in that city, doesn't really fucking matter. The Kings, dude, I can't say because I never watched hockey back in the day. But for me, it was always the Dodgers and the Lakers. So watching the Dodgers, be relatively quiet during the trade deadline was curious. But simultaneously, the Dodgers actually made a pretty substantial move in moving Ross Stripling to the Toronto Blue Jays for some prospects. And one of note, Kendall Williams, starting pitcher and the number 13 prospect in the Toronto Blue Jays. Hopefully that can bolster the bullpen for the Dodgers, but I have no fucking idea what the hell that's actually going to do for the Dodgers in the long run. But, I mean, Ross Stripling doesn't seem like a huge loss, obviously, with Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, even Julio Urias. I mean, guys all stepping up, in the fucking starting rotation, making it big. It's helping out. And based on what I've listened to from the Dodgers Nation podcast, guys who are very, avid fans of the Dodgers and stats guys more than I am, there was a whole thing about how Ross Stripling hasn't really been all that hot this season. So, hey, best of luck to Ross Stripling in Toronto with Hyunjin Ryu, my guy. But for the Dodgers, I mean, shedding some salary and, cutting the fat down to round into postseason form is now the most important thing. Because, dude, the Dodgers are so fucking dominant in the NL West. And right now, my concern is Dave Roberts is going to do the same fucking thing he did since... every post All-Star break, where he'll go ahead and just still play the starting rotation in heavy fucking minutes. This is what happened with Hyunjin Ryu after the All-Star break, and his fucking stats started dipping like crazy. And for me, it's very simple. Once you have 37, 35 odd wins, don't actually try to goddamn play to win every single fucking game anymore. That's all I'm gonna say. because injuries, having fucking depth through the postseason, that's going to count. That needs to be, a thing, Dave Roberts. But, who the hell knows? You're Dave Roberts. You're probably going to do some cringy ass shit during the fucking postseason, whether if we, get to the NLCS, any of that shit. Doesn't fucking matter. And why am I, looking away from the camera? Well, as you notice, kids, we're actually recording downstairs. And Game 5 between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Vancouver Canucks, round 2, is happening right now. And so while I am watching the second period, I am also recording, hence taking notes, and at times not completely focused on this shit. But, hey, hopefully Dave Roberts can focus on our shit and win the goddamn World Series. Dave, that's all we fucking expect from you at this point. If you can't get that shit with Mookie, with this fucking lineup, I don't know what else to say. I really don't know what else to say. That fucking contract extension after what? The Boston series loss in the World Series? Dude, I didn't agree with it at all. I didn't. But here we are, damn near 2 years later, still hoping that Dave Roberts can fucking prove us wrong, that he is a decent fucking head coach or a manager, whatever fuck. Doesn't fucking matter right now, man. Vernaculars and fucking words don't matter. What matters to me as a Dodgers fan is, do you have the fucking balls? Do you have the mental fortitude, the testicular fortitude to get all the way and win the World Series? That's it, motherfucker. If you can, great. If you can't, fuck you. Speaking of fuck you, the NBA, the woke league of Chinese basketball. You fuckers are still defending Jacob Blake? Oh, he got shot too many times. He's a fucking piece of shit rapist. Imagine if that was your sister or your mother or your fucking daughter. And Jacob Blake, the sexual assault committing criminal, was there doing some nasty shit. You NBA players, you're gonna fucking still kneel for that cocksucker? You're gonna fucking wear his name on your shirt? You're gonna put how many more on your stupid ass jerseys? Fucking Marxist retards. Motherfuckers make me sick, dude. Seriously, man. Goddamn NBA makes me so goddamn sick, dude. Because every fucking time they open their mouths, it's like, some uneducated, some unhinged shit is going to be said. And this is why I said, this is why I stopped watching the NBA. Just flat out stop watching it. I'm going to look at stats, look at fucking scores, but I'm not going to watch the NBA anymore. It's a waste of my fucking time. Players are useless in my mind. And it's rather predictable. Except some of these Game 7s, which we'll talk about some of these motherfuckers. And hockey. Like, why aren't you talking about... I fucking told you early in the episode. We're going to fucking segment this shit into 2 episodes. And tomorrow we're going to discuss all the fucking playoff updates tomorrow evening. After a couple of these Game 7s, Game 5s, and Game 6s all finish up within different aspects of the playoff realm. Only hockey and basketball, but still pending on results, kids, pending on result. But what isn't pending anymore is the new head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights AHL affiliate in the Henderson Silver Knights, and welcome head coach Manny Viveros. Coach Viveros actually, spent most of his coaching career in the Western Hockey League, WHL. Actually head coached with the Swift Current Broncos and the Spokane Chief, and he actually spent 1 season as an assistant coach for the Edmonton Oilers. So this should be a very exciting, thing for the Henderson Silver Knights, and obviously for the city of Las Vegas that now has 2 professional teams, which within that sense, I think it's just going to bring, more potential for, within, I'd say, 15 to 20 years to get that next superstar born in Las Vegas in the hockey world. That would be some real shit. That would be some fucking amazing shit if we get like a Sidney Crosby, Austin Matthews, Patrick Laine, or that kind of A-tier level of homegrown talent in Las Vegas. I would love that. That would be absolutely fantastic. But that's just me, kids. That's just me. And again, tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and update playoff shit. But ultimately, for tonight, the worldwide of sports is vast and beautiful. And my God, kids, this Game 5 is nuts in the second period. So I'm going to get back at it. And again, kids, on the next episode, more sports ball shit. So stay in tune for that. All right, motherfuckers. I appreciate you dropping by this episode. Follow me at the Sky Lounge on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. And also check out the Sky Lounge on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Until next time, kids, fuck off from me and the goddamn Triple Chans.